G'day guys and welcome back to the Freo Faithful podcast. And it couldn't be a more unfitting number for my mood today. It's podcast number 29, the most famous number in our club's history, barring the number 20, the number 7. I can't speak. I just remember that Nat Fyfey retired and the Dockers lost in a 1-point nail-biter thriller that I flew across the country to go and see. Noah, how you going?
Drewz. We weren't supposed to lose that. That's not how the script went. Mate, I thought the script writing was a little bit too unrealistic. Like, what do you mean Gold Coast fly across the nation? You know, no direct flights from Gold Coast to Perth. They have to take a bus to Brisbane. They get a flight from Brisbane. They've got a retiring great, their first ever player, you know, getting one final game in his career, one final series to play in. And he's just gone to Perth. Very Freo v Geelong 2013 at GMHBA-esque. And they've gone and won a game where they had no chance to, off the boot of an all-time legend of theirs. Drewz, that wasn't supposed to happen, mate. What? I don't know what to say.
I don't really know where to start. I suppose we can just unpack the game and just we can let it unfold from there. Does that sound good to you? And that's the best way. You know, when you go to therapy and that, not that I've been yet, but I think you start from the childhood, you start from the start, and you can unpack where everything went wrong. So let's do that. First quarter, high pressure game as expected. They were pretty fumbly, and I was like, ooh, like the sort of narrative going into it with Gold Coast was, are they going to be able to stand up under the pressure? And in that first quarter, I was like, they're actually a bit fumbly. The tackling pressure that we were bringing was good, but they kicked 1 goal 6. We only kicked 1 goal. And it was a sight for sore eyes when Noah Anderson comes streaming out the front of the first centre bounce and has a shot on goal, because that's what we were scared about all game. What did you think of the opening exchanges of the final?
Yeah, well, it was hot. It was very, very final-like. I've just put up what I said at quarter time on the Instagram. I thought our pressure and decision-making was really good early on. Like, I think our execution wasn't necessarily there, but I think our decision-making and where we wanted to go was our sort of style of football.
So where do we want to go? Where do we want to go? Where was our decision-making good?
I think our options, the options we were going to were the smart options. They were the high percentage options. That's the next thing, though. Our execution wasn't up to scratch from the very get-go.
What do you mean high percentage options?
I honestly, every time we went to a 1-on-1 inside 50, I thought the Fremantle player was going to win it, and I would have backed the Fremantle player to win it. And I think moving the ball, maybe not from the back half, but from at least the wing to our forward 50, I think it was serviceable. But I just think our execution was not there whatsoever. And I don't think either team's execution was necessarily there 100%. It was a final. It was high intensity. But I thought we started the game okay. We were only down by 4 at quarter time. That being said, it was, Gold Coast's poor kicking probably kept us in it a little bit. But some of our stars set the tempo early. I thought Brayshaw, Sarong, Jackson, Bolton, despite him having a bad game overall, started the game quite well. I thought they had it on a string early on. And I thought we could have been in, we tend to sort of ease into games sometimes. We don't necessarily come out of the blocks bursting. I think the only game in memory this year we've done that's the Port Adelaide game away. So, yeah, I was okay with our start, and I knew it was probably going to be like that. I just wish we took more of our opportunities given the dry conditions in the first quarter, because it started to get a little bit wet as the game went on.
Yeah, I thought Bolton had, a good first quarter, a quiet middle two, and then a really good last quarter. I thought he was all right though. Man, all right, we're gonna get straight into it now with what I think of our loss and where it come from in that first quarter. You were talking about the forward matchups and kicking it to the right areas for our forwards to market. Jai Amos was playing back shoulder 100% of the game, other than the goal that he kicked when he led up at the ball. When we got out over the back, that was the easiest job Sam Collins has ever had. He was so much stronger than him, just stood in front of him, and Jai Amos got nowhere near it all day. This is the Freo Faithful podcast. This is the voice of the fans. I'm sure Jai Amos is a great bloke. But let's be real. He has had such an up and down season. He has been unreliable for us inconsistent. We've seen the emergence of Patrick Voss, Murphy Reed, Josh Tracy, the character that these guys display. And in a final, when it mattered most, he was nowhere to be seen. I know he's had a good final in the past, and we're obviously going to back him to do it again, but character was tested, and he failed the test. Another player that fits into that same basket for me, and I'm naming names because everyone's thinking him, was Michael Frederick.
Oh, no.
Speak about a 1 point margin. How about you kick a 6-pointer from 2 meters out directly in front? Why are you going for a dribbler when you're 2 meters out? What is that about? Not only did he fuck that up, he just looked lost all day. Like, positionally, if that's even a word, he just looked lost. He had a great game against the Bulldogs last week where he pushed up into stoppage and he was clean. Every time he went near it, he just fumbled it. He didn't take a grab all day hardly, and he's shown his ability to have a contested mark. This is just what I'm seeing in the first quarter, by the way, before we unpack the rest of the game. And there's been a lot of comments about Frederick this year on the channel saying, like, I don't know why we talk well about Frederick and that type of thing. Because you see the promise and the X factor that he has, the speed. He can lay a chase down tackle when his head's in the game and he's not in his own head. But the character of Amos and Frederick just was found out. They are not mentally tough enough in big games when it matters most, when they needed to stand up. And I know Frederick probably had a bigger role to play with the absence of Sam Switkowski, but Frederick bottled it. Amos bottled it. Look at what Tracy and Vossi were doing all day, and Murphy Reed, the character, just the mental toughness to get us over the line. Neil Erasmus even. Amos and Frederick, players that have been in this side for a long time, absolutely choked on the big stage. And I've got that off my chest. I hope they get better. But, yeah, I just needed to say that.
I hope you're okay, mate, because that was a fair roasting. I mean, I don't really know how much to add on top of that. You pretty much hit the nail on the head. Michael Frederick, I'm not sure like when this happened, but I just want to speak about Michael Frederick in general. That marky talk, or when he had a set shot or whatnot from 60 out, and he played on directly into the man of the mark and got pinged holding the ball. That's just another example of a lack of game awareness. And then Jai Amos, you're exactly right. Sam Collins had the easiest day of his life. He got in the coaches' votes. And I think of one contest that Jai Amos should have won. He actually outbodied and outpositioned Sam Collins, and he's dropped a chest mark from 10 metres out directly in front in a really critical stage of the game. It's just these little moments. Finals are won on moments, and we weren't taking the moments. The Freddie dribbler, that Amos mark, and they were our worst two forwards, but Josh Tracy, who had a really good game, it just sort of crept into the whole forward line. He had the easiest mark on the lead of all time, and Jared Witts was just a little bit in front of him. I'm not sure who kicked it, but it hit Josh Tracy right there. Should have been an easy grab, and he just got a little bit nervous, and he pulled away. It just sort of crept into all of our forwards, and we just had a big gap down there. Whether it was leadership, I'm not sure, but I think Sam Switkowski would have filled that void pretty well, because not just that, but the pressure factor. Gold Coast had so much time coming out of their back half where it felt like we were getting suffocated whenever we tried to move it from half-back or deep in our back line. So, yeah, I think he was a massive loss, and with Switter, we probably win that game, but we've got to have some sort of substitute in that forward line and some sort of leadership in there without Switter, because, geez, it just looked like a young, inexperienced, and it looks like a forward line that hadn't played finals before.
Yeah. Yeah, we couldn't mark the ball in the first half, man. Like, Jackson was dropping him, Tracy was dropping him, Amos wasn't getting near him, and when he did, he was dropping him. Yeah. But like you said, like, not only is it the smallest moments, and those are big moments, like the ones that you mentioned there, it's not only the small moments in the game, it's the moments across the season. Like, it's a moment where Neil Erasmus lets Riley Bice get on the other side of him in round 3. He gets out and kicks a goal to go ahead, and we lose by 3 points. And then we don't finish top 4, and we don't have the second chance. Like, the smallest moments in the season matter. Before we get sidetracked, second quarter starts.
We've gone back to round 2 before the second quarter. That is, far out.
Anyway, so yeah, we get pumped basically in the second quarter. what's his name? Bailey Humphrey turns into Dustin Martin, who he's been compared to his whole career, but genuinely turns into Dustin Martin. Kicks 3. We sort of, even our back 6, I don't know if they crumbled, but they were overcommitting. Like, there was 2 or 3 goals where they'd all fly at the same contest. No one would stay down. They'd get an easy one over the back. Banfield tried to spoil one over his head that falconed him, and then, I don't even know what his name is, Joe Farrow or Mo Farrow or
Mo Salah.
God knows, Mo Salah, whatever his name is, at number 50. I can't even remember. Don't pay attention to Gold Coast fringe players, but he kicked an easy goal. Just capitulation in that second quarter.
Yeah, I'm happy you've mentioned the overcommitting because that was something I really wanted to get off my chest. It felt like every single, like Alex Pearce and Brennan Cox, I actually said at the time, I think it was in the second or third quarter, I said, geez, Pearce and Cox aren't having very good games. Or I said something along those lines. And a bloke turned around in front of me and said, yeah, but they're not getting much help, are they? It turned out that bloke in front of me is a Freo Faithful listener. It's a shout out if you're listening. But he was absolutely right because Pearce and Cox were made... Like, Cox kept banking goalless. So that's one thing. Cox probably had a good game overall. And Alex Pearce had a fantastic fourth quarter. But those two were made to look bad by our smaller defenders. They just kept on overcommitting. And even the defensive wingers. So Neil Erasmus at times, Jago O'Meara at times, Nathan O'Driscoll at times. Whenever they floated back, they all went up in one contest when Alex Pearce or Brennan Cox probably already had it covered. And there was just an out-the-back goal for Buderick or Mo Salah or, Bailey Humphrey. One of these just absolute clowns. And Bailey Humphrey is the only one of those I actually rate as a footballer. And we were letting these, as you mentioned, Gold Coast fringe players just tear us to pieces out the back. It was simple defensive mistakes that we have not done in years. We pride ourselves on being such a strong backline. And for some reason, we just crumbled. The IQ, Carl Warner as well, one of the smaller defenders back there, kept on overcommitting, kept on going up in contests he shouldn't have been going up in. It was Bailey Banfield. It was just, I don't want to keep, I think you can name names when you're naming the whole bloody team because there were just so many instances where the IQ was lacking back there. And I don't think our keys had anything to do with it.
Yeah, no, well said. The halfbacks, I feel like, were what actually got the game swinging in our direction in the third term. Like, Carl Warner and Heath Chapman started taking the game on when they started taking defensive grabs. And it was just that long down the line all day, man. It was just kick it to a pack. I said this after the Bulldogs game. I said, yeah, long kick-ins to a pack work when you want it more than the other team and you're playing a side like the Bulldogs that have no structure behind the ball. Yeah, it looks great. Sam Switkowski, Murphy Reid, Michael Frederick can run rings around them and run into open space. But Gold Coast were up for the fight. They were great at ground level all day. And that style of long down the line, crumb at the feet and transition ball movement looked shit, which I said the week before. Gold Coast did their homework. It's not hard. Just be ready when they go long down the line and watch out for Murphy Reid at the feet because Sam Switkowski's not there anyway. So you only got to stop Murphy Reid. Frederick wasn't getting anywhere near it. Dudley had, good moments in the game, but he's no Sam Switkowski. And it took us making runs from our defence. Guys like Carl Warner, Heath Chapman, Nathan O'Driscoll, running with the ball in hand, drawing defenders and opening up the game in the corridor that we started to get some reward and started to give our forwards easier looks. But again, these small things that get spoken about as the season goes on, right? So we've already spoken about Amos and Frederick, but the slow ball movement, you sort of, sweep it under the rug in season, these types of issues, because, we've won 13 of 15 or whatever it was. We're winning against good teams. But we don't just do that to make it to week 1 of finals and get eliminated. You have to create a brand of football that's going to stack up in finals. And at times you have to take risks. You have to take the game on. And we didn't do that enough this year. We were far too safe. Again, I'm trying not to tangent into the whole year as a whole, but we didn't pump a single team this year. I couldn't actually tell you a really convincing 4-quarter effort from the Dockers this year. Because we just play safe, man. And then, we have these comeback wins because we set up well behind the ball. It's a low score, and then, like the Collingwood game, like, oh, shit, we're going to lose. Let's just throw caution to the wind, get the ball to Hayden Young in the middle of the ground or whoever it is and make things happen. Tangent from that tangent, how many times was Hayden Young in the middle of the fucking ground by himself all game? He was screaming for it for 2.5 quarters, man. He's our best ball user. Get it to the man.
I don't reckon it would have been evident on TV either. You had to be there to see how much space Hayden Young had around him at times.
And we just wouldn't take the risk. We wouldn't take the kick. We wouldn't back ourselves. But like that slow ball movement that we've been criticised off all year, it doesn't translate to finals. We have to find a way to be a more dangerous side. And for me, that's going to, as we evolve this list, that's going to involve Neil Erasmus and Murphy Reid getting higher up the ground. Because as soon as the ball is in those guys' hands, they know how to use it. Hayden Young, Neil Erasmus, and Murphy Reid are our 3 best ball users by foot. Sarong and Brayshaw, they can do the in and under stuff. But as soon as the ball was in one of the hands of those blokes, I was like, this ball will go exactly where we need it. And it did. But it took far too long to get the ball in the hands of those blokes.
Well, I think we need a defensive winger, first and foremost, because if we're going to allow a guy like Neil Erasmus to get further up the ground, where he's showing in the past couple of games he can hit the scoreboard at will, we need a guy that can help on the flanks down back. So you look at a guy like Judd McPhee that fits that profile perfectly. If we can get him over the line, I think he doesn't fix, but I think he helps quite a few of our problems. We've got a winger currently who can't kick on his opposite foot, which in the finals game is just unbearable. Again, it's something you sweep under the rug in the season, but when you've got a left footer that can't kick with their right foot, it's really, really frustrating. The amount of times he tries, we know who we're talking about. The amount of times he tries to switch onto his left foot when he's clearly on his right side. I think there was a stage where JL just switched him onto the other wing and had enough of it. He yet again got reintroduced into the team and had a poor game. So I'm not sure where we see his future in the team. Obviously, he'll have to... in the team. But he'll obviously have to go back to Waffle and fight back for it. But he's certainly not a best 22 lock like he was at the start of 2025, given the resurgence of Raz and stuff. One thing I noticed at the game was Heath Chapman should be the bloke on kick-ins in 2026. He just provides that little bit of dash out of the goal square. You look at teams like GWS, who did lose in the first week of finals, but Lockie Ash and Lockie Whitfield take their kick-outs. And they have like a 10, 20-metre dash. Same with St Kilda when Naz takes them. They have a 10, 20-metre dash, and they find, Brisbane, Zorko, Wilmot. They have that dash, and then they find an option on the wing, or go long to a contest, but you're getting so much more field position. There are a few times, I think 3 or 4 times, Chapman took a kick-out, and he had a little dash. He found an Erasmus or an O'Driscoll or someone on the wing. He picked them off, and then we looked on the inside, and every single time, that's what our best ball movement stemmed from. So I think we have to look at Chapman taking more kickouts next year, because I thought he was really, really good on the weekend in starting those chains from our back half. And look, I've got to hold my hands up and apologise. I was a fan of JL being stubborn with this sort of ball movement from the back. Luke Ryan going the percentage option long to the contest. But geez, it doesn't stack up, does it? It was a real tough watch. Luke Ryan just bombing it long to these contests where it gets to ground level and you've got Matt Rowell and Noah Anderson hunting the football. That's probably the last thing you want. So we've got
Alex Davies as well is just like one of those Will Brodie type players, like just shovel, just dirty in and under, loving it. Like that, they were licking their lips and like, oh, here's a high ball. Old Witsy, could you knock it down to us or half the contest? Because we are up to our nose in this. And then the way that the Suns spread was so satisfying. Like, well, not for us, but like they would just relieve the pressure with like a 1 handball, 2 handball out, and then they'd have options either side. And by that time, you can bet your bottom dollar that Noah Anderson was streaming through the middle of the ground, screaming for it to threaten us again offensively. Their midfield is scary. The boys are talking about it on True Footy, but the Gold Coast, they're going to be a scary team for a long time. Like, they're not even near their final form yet. But the pieces they have there are terrifying. But yeah, I sound like a broken record, Noah, but at that Bulldogs game, I was watching it in the first quarter. Why do we keep going long down the line? And then we just upped the intensity a bit and it worked. But it's a shit way of moving the ball. It's a lazy way of going, all right, we're going to go long to a contest. If we win it, happy days, we're out. If not, we make another stoppage. That's not a high percentage. Like, you're just banking on your midfield having a better day than the other midfield if it does get held up in a stoppage. That's just some Brexit 4-4-2 long down the line nonsense that needs to be changed. And other than that, all we have is that weird switch thing when we try to find Alex Cox. When we try to find Alex Cox or Brennan Pearce out on the wing by themselves. Like, that is just a clear area of improvement. Moving the ball from a kick in. When you concede 12 goals, whatever it was, they could have put us to bed earlier, but they decided to toy with us until the final siren. Just need to improve there. And I think your shout of Heath Chapman is good. You see how Brisbane moved the ball from their back half. It's not necessarily like a switch kick to the wing or whatever. They just take the kick in fast and like Zorko or Wilmot, like you said, just hit a 20-metre kick, run onto it, handball receive. Bang, there's 45 metres. Now when you do get that long kick down the line, your small forwards are running with the ball coming over because you've already sort of got over the halfway mark and you're in an attacking zone. So, yeah, JL, do some homework on how to move the ball from kick-ins, please, because I can't bear watching any long down the line anymore.
Another area of concern was our clearance game, funnily enough, because that's probably been, I mean, not one of our strengths this year, but you look at the players we've got in there and it really should be. And I'm not sure if you know the clearance numbers. Take a guess what the plus-minus was for what team.
I thought we were up.
Yeah,
it was like +6, something like that.
We were +8 clearances, Freo, but I want to read out the definition of the clearance in the great sport that we love. The clearing of the ball out of the stoppage situation to the advantage of one team or the other. Now, I couldn't count how many times that either Sarong, Brayshaw, Young, Bolton, O'Driscoll went in there a bit. Just Erasmus, everyone. How many times they got their hands on the ball first, counts as a clearance, and coughed it up immediately. And Noah Anderson and Matt Royale and Alex Davies, or Bailey Humphrey, they all got to work. So our cleanliness in the middle was not made for finals. And I thought that was a massive area of concern. It hasn't necessarily been a massive strength for us this year. As I've already mentioned, clearance. It's something we've certainly going to fix up going into next year. And I think it's an easy fix given our personnel. But it was a really, really frustrating watch on the night. You know, you cannot give an inch of space to Anderson and Rao. And when your rucks are giving your first usage, to cough it up that much, that loss was our own doing. And Gold Coast are so reliant on winning the midfield. And we basically gave them the game by being so fumbly out of there. It was so frustrating.
Yeah. No, they were just clean. Like, they were hitting kicks. They were just... It was a satisfying watch at the ground. I was just, like, shaking my head like, they're playing so well. But that Dimmer final experience, like... All they needed to do when they got their hands on in the middle was a couple short handballs, find space, and then they were out. That's all it was. They made it pretty simple, and then poured the goals in that second quarter. And then the fourth quarter comes, and, you know, some of the efforts were inspirational from Alex Pearce and Brennan Cox and Luke Ryan. I'm sat there going, God, it feels like Luke Ryan's been around forever, because I'm pretty sure he played at Subi.
Yeah.
And I just remember him going back with the flight. And I'm like, how much longer can this guy do this for us? Like, just inspirational effort after inspirational effort and trying his guts out every week. And Pierce just throwing caution to the wind and doing ridiculous shit. And then we started taking off the corridor kicks and finding Hayden Young in there and finding our dangerous players in those areas. Tracy gets one, Vossi gets one, Doggy gets the go-ahead, and you can go and watch my vlog of the game. I vlogged the whole thing. When Dogger kicked that goal, it was actual, like, euphoria.
It was euphoria. Bro. That's the word. Yeah.
Dude, It was like, we've actually done it. Like, I just lost my head and, like, fell back. And I was like, I still knew, I was like, job's not finished. The job is not finished. Tracy swings back with 3 minutes to go, which we've seen before, but it was far too early.
Yeah.
And why would you swing Tracy back in a 6-6-6 anyway?
That was weird. That was the weird part about it. I noticed at the time, Tracy always starts at high half forward when he swings back and just sprints and gets off his defender and creates a spare. So basically, Tracy had a matchup with him in that in the D50. It made absolutely no sense.
Yeah. And then who was accountable for Mac Andrew after that?
Yep.
Not Josh Tracy.
And Mac Andrew came out with the coldest line after the game, by the way. I think he said something.
Do I want to hear it?
He said something along the lines of, I've been defending Josh Tracy all game. I then said to him, how about you defend me? And we saw what happened when Josh Tracy tried to defend Mac Andrew. It was pretty cold from Big Mac. It was really poorly set up those last few minutes. I want to go back to that Jackson goal for a second, because if I could bottle that moment up and just relive it time and time again, euphoria is the word, because I don't think I've ever heard Optus louder. I reckon I nearly broke my leg jumping up and down. It was the most incredible moment of watching your footy team in a final. And what happened from there ended up just
that was
destiny.
it. The Dockers won, and we are playing Brisbane next week at the Gabba. So we'll preview. No. Dude.
What happened?
I watched the vlog back, and just that Jackson moment, it actually makes me like, my insides hurt. Like, I was so happy for that moment, and that wasn't it.
When Hayden Young was gliding inside 50, like, everybody was on their feet in the stadium, and you just knew this ball was finding a Fremantle player. You just knew. It was destiny in that moment. But someone else had a different idea of destiny. And it was... Man.
It's a tough one to swallow.
Sensational.
Oh, God. Gotta relive this shit again. So I couldn't be more perfectly positioned for this final play. And again, go and watch the vlog if you want to relive your trauma. Every decent footballer knows that when the game is in the balance, we've seen Collingwood do it for seasons now, you have to lock the ball in. Do not let the ball out. Let time tick down in there. It might jumble out a bit, but it's an absolute cardinal sin at that point in the game to let the ball out. Now, I haven't watched the stoppage back again on TV, but from where I saw it, Brayshaw was probably knackered, to be fair, sat on his heels a bit, and it just spills out into Rao's hands to get that left-footed fucking shovel away. And it bounces over Heath Chapman and his opponent, and as it lands, just breaks directly towards David Swallow. Like, the footy gods could not have been more in the
remote control ball,
going for the Suns.
It had to have been.
Dude. And then for Brennan Cox lays a fucking brilliant tackle, so much so that David Swallow drops the ball. And then, you know what happens next.
And then, for some reason, it gets called a goal, blah, 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 we go back to the middle. Then my block, and the whole stadium starts cheering when they bring it back for a point. No, Faithful. This isn't what we want. This lost us the game.
Come on.
Footy smarts. Like, it brought me back to the Essendon game last year. That Durham point. Then we had 9 seconds to go to end to end. It was just... it was destiny, wasn't it? And, look, as you mentioned, that was a great tackle by Brennan Cox. That was a bit unfortunate.
Until it wasn't.
But I tell you
Too
what,
strong.
We end the year how we started. Me hating Brennan Cox. I've come...
He's had such a good season.
Coxie's grown me. He's had a really, really good year. No, I wouldn't rather have Josh Draper playing in that final last night. Yeah, look, that tackle... The thing is, that absolutely is a free kick every day of the week, right?
Yeah.
But it happens 20 times a game. How many times do you find yourself yelling out, holding the man, and it just doesn't get paid? And you're like, oh, well, we'll get the next one. And then...
Nah, that was a free kick.
It was a free kick. I would just rather they pay it every single time that instance happens. I'm not complaining about that free kick at the end. Like, that was a free kick. Gold Coast deserved to win the game. We lost that ourselves. But a bit of consistency would not go astray in the umpiring department. That's all I'll say.
Brother, I didn't think the umpires were terrible, but some of the calls that they missed were like...
Deplorable.
Yeah, lose your job in the morning. That Euland throw...
Oh, my this.
How
Like, literally
everyone in the
jumped
stadium saw
midair
that.
and-
Yeah, dude. That was bad. That one particularly was bad. There was a bunch of... Other than that, I didn't think it was, like, terrible
I think
umpiring,
Dudley
to be
threw the
honest.
ball, by the way, so that's what evens it up.
Oh, yeah, he threw it to Sarong.
Yeah.
Exactly. But, look, that was like a little cheeky in and under one. Players do that all the time. But a literal,
Look at us
like,
justifying it.
football throw-in, call that umpire. I was right above where the umpires walked in and out as well, and they were copping it like I've never seen before. That's what emotions do to you when you're an enough football fan. I didn't give as much as, I once would have, but, they might have copped a Harley Reid, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. We would have, we had a comment on the Freo Faithful full-time post that got deleted very quickly. I won't mention who it was from, but it was along the lines of, if I was a Fremantle player, I would assault an umpire going off the field. Now, I just want to first and foremost say we don't condone assaulting umpires. That's a ridiculous thing to say. That being said, not crazy. They were they had some really questionable moments, but at the end of the day, it didn't cost us the game, and we did some silly things.
No, but it did. Because if that Newland throw
No, Michael
called...
Frederick cost us the game. Josh Tracy dropping the mark cost us the game. Like, easy set shot misses cost us the game. Like, we did it to ourselves. Like...
Yeah, But, like, if you go, Newland throw, we kick goal, we win by, whatever it was. What did we lose by a point?
Yep.
Right. There you go. There's your therapy, Faithful. My head's gone.
Is that
the
the
game's
season done?
gone.
Is that it?
Yeah, it is. The season is over. We lost the game of football in an elimination final. But before we move on, I need to compose myself. Caleb Sarong, man.
Oh.
He played the most ridiculous game I've ever seen, probably from a Fremantle midfielder ever. Maybe I'm going a bit overs on that.
That is.
I do not know how that man has the endurance that he has to be in defence when we need someone, taking intercept marks, continual tackling, being sort of centre forward when the ball's going our way. Just the endurance, man. Like, the heart that he showed was so inspiring. Like, I just had to give a special shout out to that man. Again, he had like 12 clearances. Not sure how many of them were effective, but like, I would run through a wall after watching that guy perform. That was incredible from him. And yeah, I think the other one, obviously Murphy Reid, stood up again. Every time the ball's in his hands, we love it. So great to see him do his thing in finals. And the other real standout to me, and I don't know if I'm just biased because we spoke about him for the last few weeks, but Neil Erasmus has just arrived. He's signed a 3-year contract. He's staying at Freo. I think he could be one of our more damaging front of centre players, along with Murphy Reid and Hayden Young. So those guys can really hold their head high. To be honest, most of the team can hold their head high, other than
select
few that we've already named. But yeah, what are you saying about all that waffle that I just provided you?
I'll just go over again some of the things you've been saying. I mean, Caleb Sarong, mate. 35 disposals, 9 tackles, 13 clearances, 11 inside 50s, 5 set clearances, 6 score involvements, 4 intercepts. Like 4 intercepts, by the way. Contested bull, Caleb Sarong. He just is a workhorse. He does not stop running. And you could tell he was ready for finals. You could tell he was so hungry to give something to this club and to Nathan Fyfe and what we all wanted in 2025. But we'll get to Fyfey in a sec. But
I forgot about that for 5 minutes.
Yeah, Seba was so hungry, and that was our entire midfield. I mean, Andy Brayshaw had a brilliant game. He was doing his best to try and fight off Matt Rao, but it was a very difficult task, and he had the ball 32 times himself. Hayden Young, we got his most minutes out of a game this season, and he provided us with 28 very damaging disposals.
He should have had 36 if we just fucking looked for him, man.
Yep.
That whole first half, he was screaming for the ball. Screaming, I
And
tell
he makes things happen as well. He makes things happen. So that was the most frustrating bit of not giving it to him. And Neil Erasmus, no, you are not being biased. That man is just an absolute freak. I didn't realize how tall he was. He's got such a big frame. Has he grown since he got drafted? It feels like he has. I can't remember him being that tall when we drafted him. He's going to be such a crucial player going
His
forward.
disposal efficiency every week. Looking at it again, 88%.
Yeah.
Disposal efficiency.
Midway in the year when he wasn't getting a game every week, I was strong on the opinion that he's a really good waffle player. Probably won't make it at AFL level at any sort of caliber, and he's proved me wrong completely. He played a massive part in the Peel Thunder Premiership last year. Not sure how much that would have played into him playing well in a final on the weekend, but it would have had some sort of factor. Not same sort of intensity, but I guess the pressure of playing at a final, it does help. He was best on ground in that grand final last year. So, yeah, Erasmus is going to be so crucial going into the future. And just the two blokes that moved the ball from the back half when we really needed them to was Heath Chapman and Jordan Clark. His first game as an All-Australian. And he showed why
Carl
he was.
Warner, I thought.
Carl Warner, yeah. That spoil from Jordan Clark when I thought his season was done, should we advance, was so inspirational. Ended up just being winded. But yeah, so good from Jordy. And I've already mentioned what Heath Chapman brought to the side. We had a few passengers in there which didn't get us over the line. I'm looking at the stat sheet right now, and I think you can go on the AFL app and you can determine who I'm talking about.
Go on, say it. Say it.
Say it. Well, Jai Amos, 2 disposals. 1 goal, 1 behind. So he did.
How many times has that happened this year? How many times has Jai Amos had 3 or 4 touches and JL and any player that fronts the media defends him? Obviously, you got to defend him. But you've also got to say, yeah, he's playing shit. And we don't have anyone that can come in for him. You know, a sneaky shout that will not happen, but I would love to happen.
You know who I wanted to happen next week?
Brody Myercheck.
Okay, we were going in different
paths. We're in the trade window now that the season's over. Brody Myercheck's on the market. How good would he be?
Yeah. I was actually thinking at the end stage of the game when Doggy kicked that goal, I'm not afraid to admit, I thought ahead to Brisbane next week. And I thought, Jai hasn't touched the ball. You know who played a really good defensive forwards role in a grand final on Harris Andrews a few years ago? Billy Frampton. You know who could do that for us next week? Oscar McDonald. That's what I was thinking. But in the end, we are not playing football next week, so we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, Jai Amos is one of those players. I'm not going to bring up Isaiah Dudley because he only had 5 disposals, but he kicked 2 of the biggest goals of his career and really turned the tide in that game. A man who had 3 more disposals than Jai Amos, the same amount as Dudley, only 2 less than Michael Frederick, was the greatest player to ever pull on the purple and white, and that was only in a quarter of football.
Right. Hang on, let's just bypass that. We can't mention Nat Fyfe in the same sentence as some of these guys now.
Fair enough.
Again, don't want to just jump on this guy had a shit game train, but I will. Jager Amir in game 200 didn't do anything. And you mentioned it before, but Nathan O'Driscoll, go and kick on your right for the next 3 months, please.
Such an easy fix. It is literally just practice, and you're a professional footballer who gets paid to kick on both feet. It's been a thing since round 1. I remember pointing it out against Geelong.
Yeah. You don't even have to go and become like a dead-eye dick, right foot rocket. Just learn to turn on your right and hit a target. Like that's an easy fix. I actually reckon Noddy's better as an inside mid, to be honest. I don't know if I rate him as a winger that much, to be honest.
I'd actually agree with you. I don't know. What was it that... So it was Hayden Young being out that forced him to be in the middle.
Yeah.
At the start of the year. And also Shea
Back end of last year, he played on ball as well.
Yeah. And also Shea Bolton wasn't getting massive midfield time. So Nathan O'Driscoll had to play in there earlier this year. And even when Hayden Young hasn't been in the team and Noddy has been in the back ends of the year, we haven't played him in there. He attended 1 CBA on the weekend, which is more than he has been in recent weeks. So, I don't know. It's really weird why we're not playing him through there. He's got the big frame, he's got the speed, and as you mentioned, doesn't need to be a dead-eye dick. As long as you get the ball and you put it into the path of one of your forwards, a percentage option, just something that favours your football club, It's so frustrating watching him trying to wheel onto his right and back onto his left because he can't kick on his right, and he gets pinged, and it's a whole kerfuffle. So, yeah. Tough watch he's been in the back end of this year.
Our wing rotation needs work. Like, yeah, it's all right to go, oh, Erasmus is good. Noddy can do some good things at times. Corey Wagner, John. But it's like, what actually is that mix? It's confusing. I remember a game where O'Meara, Sharp, and O'Driscoll, maybe even Erasmus all played. Might have been that like Essendon game or something. And it was just like Sharp, I don't know. It just confuses the shizen out of me, that midfield rotation. Maybe the players have a complete understanding of it, but I wouldn't mind seeing Heath Chapman move up there.
Yeah,
it's been flirted with
so long. Yeah.
It's been flirted with. The boy can move the ball. He can, like, that's a defensive mid if I've ever seen one. Like, guy that can run, move the ball by hand, backs himself with his kick. And let's be honest, Heath Chapman as a lockdown defender isn't a world beater.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's all right.
The thing is, we're so desperate to get like a Murphy Reid into the midfield, or the coaching staff at least is. Murphy Reid's not what we're lacking in the midfield at the moment. It's a Heath Chapman mould. And you're absolutely right.
I don't know if it's Chapman on ball. I just think further up the ground. I don't think it's around stoppages.
Well, halfback that just burst into the stoppage.
Yeah.
So as soon as the ball gets bounced, he just runs and provides an extra number. I'm not sure why we're not. We need to set up that back line differently. And it's the first year having Jade Rawlings as our defensive coach. And you can tell that we've been strong in the key areas, but as a setup as a whole, you can see the holes that have sort of been there in and out this year.
Yeah. Man, have we gone backwards? Like,
no, it's our second best ever season, wins and losses.
But in terms of game style, are you more confident? See, I feel like our forward line has taken massive steps forward.
Yeah.
But I feel like midfield and defense, I feel like our defense in 22 and 22 particularly was probably stronger. Now midfield was definitely better last year. So like, have we taken a step back? It's probably not as black and white as that, but why have we lost that ability to just dominate clearance and be rock solid defensively? When have we ever just conceded 7 goals in a quarter multiple times in a season?
We've certainly worked out that forward makeup. We've improved in that aspect. I think big call right here. I think Pat Voss will be our leading goal kicker next year. Josh Tracy sort of moved up into that link-up sort of role, and he's playing so well in it. He hasn't really had a bad game when he's been playing really high up the ground, and Pat Voss has been the anchor inside 50. And Jai Amos has just been out of form. So I think he'll be our leading goal kicker next year. He's that sort of new main guy down there. Tracy's playing a bit more of a different role, and he's playing it superbly. The midfield, we have gone the most backwards in. We were the best clearance team in the comp last year. In the back end of this year, we're winning games, but we're in the bottom 4 for clearance. We had such a bad end to the season in that aspect. We had a few good games against the Bulldogs and whatnot, but as a whole, against poorer teams, we were getting shown up in the middle. Carlton, St Kilda, just some of these games, it was really, really frustrating. I don't think we got shown up in the middle on the weekend. It was just the cleanliness in there and how we got the ball out in the middle. As you mentioned, the spacing and how Gold Coast just always had an option on the outside. They didn't get the ball as much as us, but at least they had an option there, which is something we didn't have. And then the back line, we just need, I've already mentioned it, a defensive winger that can rotate between halfback and the wing, and that can go down there and be a 7th defender, and that can help out, because I've seen a couple good games from Neil Erasmus when he's played that role, but we don't really want him playing behind the ball. We want him forward to centre. So we just need someone of that mould. And look, I don't think we have gone backwards. I think we're probably stagnant. At least we've played finals football, and at least we've won more games, well, almost more games than any other season in our club's history. But yeah, it's certainly a difficult one to sort of discuss. Just before you mentioned we're in the trade window now, little hypothetical. Michael Walters' big salary is off the books. Nat Fyfe's big salary is off the books. We've got a bit of space in the cap. What is one realistic sort of fish that we could go and catch in the trade period, do you reckon, that could revitalise this team?
Give me Chad Warner. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
Give me Chad. Give me the Chad. Come here.
He would.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
No, it won't.
Yeah. Who do you reckon?
Well, I think we need a big body. I think Jordan Dawson, when he went to Adelaide, I'm not saying get Jordan Dawson. That would be ridiculous. But and Jordan, if you want to come, feel free. But
You're welcome.
Jordan Dawson, when he was at Sydney, wasn't a world beater. And Adelaide went and got him, and they saw his leadership. They gave him the captaincy. I'm not saying whoever we get in, we're going to give the captaincy. But he wasn't a world beater.
Yeah.
He had a big frame, and he just went in there, played multiple different roles. Half back, midfield, half forward, deep back. He was a utility, and he sort of just plugged heaps of holes while Adelaide truly found who they were. So someone of that mould, I think, would be absolutely perfect.
And that is?
Jordan Dawson.
As if you made that long-winded point to go, I haven't got an answer.
Nah,
Ask the question, I haven't got the answer.
That's Freo's job.
A guy,
We've got scouts.
a guy that can play midfield, half back, half forward, full forward, deep back.
Yeah,
Jordan
Jesus,
Dawson,
that's his
captain
name.
of the Crows. Yep. And who's that going to be? I don't have an answer for you. Cheers for that, Noah.
That's
We
why
should
we're
bring
the
that
number
segment in every
Freo
week.
podcast in the country.
Yep, keep listening. So, all right, a couple more things, right? And we've harped on about it a lot. But a big thing that's going to come from this loss and the absence of champions like Nathan Fyfe and Michael Walters, are we going to lose a bit of confidence? Is our mentality going to be rocked? Because I remember that 23 season where we lost a lot of experience. And although like Walters and Fyfe haven't had as much of an impact on the team as Mundy, like this season as Mundy and Logue and Akers and those types, that is irreplaceable. The experience and the leadership of those guys and the cool-headedness that they would have. JL spoke about Nathan O'Driscoll's confidence in a press conference last week. He sort of didn't want to delve into it, but he's like, yeah, he's knocked for confidence. I actually thought Noddy tackled really well. That was one part of his game that I was like, he did good things. But a player like Frederick, like, can he ever shake that?
Well,
I don't know.
That Frederick performance was so comparable to Brandon Walker's semi-final 2022, where just nothing was going right for him. And Brandon Walker responded and had a pretty good couple years for us. He obviously played like one game for us this year, but yeah, I think he can recover from that, Freddie. I just think he has to clean up the inconsistencies. As a whole, the team mentality, I think, will be rocked. And JL, in another presser in the past couple of weeks, he was asked about the void that Nat Fyfe's going to leave in that locker room and him leaving. And he looked worried. He said, yeah, he's going to leave a big gap and we're going to struggle to replace that, but we've got to find a way. And I just think, not just from a footballing point of view, but from a leadership point of view, the one big improvement we're going to have next year is going to come from natural improvement with pre-existing talent. And that is going to mean Caleb Strong's already got a massive role. He's going to need to take an even bigger role with leadership. Alex Pearce can't really do much more. He's already 30, 31. He's one of our only leaders at the club still with age, him and Jager. But Caleb and Andy and Josh Tracy, Jordan Clark, these guys are going to have to take massive strides in their leadership, which is a massive ask because it should be a natural thing. We shouldn't need to be piling this on players at a young age, but it's just going to need to happen if mentally we're going to be stable going into 2026.
Oh, I'm not very mentally stable at the moment, I can tell you that for free.
None of us
are. The brand that we play, that's a word that gets thrown around a lot. We want to play our brand of footy. Have you been convinced by it this year?
Have I been convinced by this year?
Are you like, yeah, that football will win us a flag? Because to be honest, I haven't. And I know I'm probably half glass full now that we've lost. And we've spoken very happily about these players after good wins, but they come from behind stuff. Like, yeah, it's good. It shows good character. But we need to see this game plan evolve, man. Like, if you bring that same way that we played to next season, we're not making the 8, I don't reckon. Teams will continue to get better. If this new rule comes in about like last touch, that'll completely change the trajectory of the sport as a whole. But yeah, what do you make of just our overall game style?
Well, look, the only brand I've been thinking about in the past 48 hours has been Clorox. But if we're talking about football, to be honest, it only convinced me about once this season, and that was the Giants game away from home, where we played a very, very... no, I can see you giggling. It's throwing me off. We played a very, very good brand of football from back to front for 4 quarters against the Giants, and it came from Cooper Simpson and Jordan Clark moving the ball in such a good way. And I don't think, moving the ball from a halfback is the only thing that's going to win you a football game. But across 4 quarters, we moved it quickly. We used the corridor at every possible opportunity. And our forwards led at the ball and we hit them. And that was coming off a really bad patch of form. We just lost to St Kilda and Collingwood. That St Kilda game obviously ended up being the turning point for what should have been a really good season. And that Giants game kick-started that massive winning run. And it was through playing that fast footy. And it sort of felt like after that Giants game, I think we had a wet game against Port where we couldn't really play the same way. After that, it was Gold Coast, another wet game. We couldn't play the same way. We then had the bye, and then we just fell back on our laurels after the bye and started playing this slow brand again. So I think those wet games actually came at a really bad time because I think we would have kicked on from there. But that Giants game really felt like proper Fremantle football. And if we play like that consistently in 2026, I think we're going to be a good team. But I agree with you. Teams improve quicker than you think, and you can't be flat on your feet at AFL level. And Justin Longmuir's expectations to keep his job in 2026 are going to be performance-based, and they're going to be based off the brand of football he plays, because the expectations are now higher than ever for this current Fremantle makeup.
It's actually crazy that the season's done, and like going into this year, it was like, we got to make finals. We got to be a top 8 side. We get there, losing week 1.
Yeah.
Season over. Like, sick. Everything we've spoken about, done. JL has to evolve. He has to show his ability to adapt with modern AFL football. That is speed of ball movement. That is what we have struggled with all year. I'm kind of scared we're going to slide, not going to lie.
Oh, I am too, mate. It's a worry if we don't evolve, and
if we don't make finals next year, JL's sacked.
JL could be... Okay, we're getting really ahead of ourselves here. JL could be gone before the end of next season if we're that bad.
Yeah. Yep.
Simon Goodwin style. Like, see ya. I hope it doesn't happen, because Justin Longmuir is the most Fremantle man. He's done so many great things for this club as a player, and his heart is so into this job. And I know he wants success as much as the fans, as much as the players. He's so invested in this, and the players absolutely adore him. But it's one thing the players adoring you, and it's one thing actually getting the best out of your players. So, yeah, I really want it to work out for JL, but there's no more defending if he can't pull his finger out in 26.
Well, no, he's pulled his finger out as much as he can. I just thought, like, you put Dimmer and JL side by side, and you go, who would you run through a wall for?
Yeah. Yeah, well, to be honest, Justin Longmuir. He motivates me week in, week out. He occasionally swears in a team meeting. That really gets me up and about. No, it's obviously Dimmer. Like, it is light and day. Damien Hardwick, 3-time premiership coach, and even before that, when Richmond was sporadically making finals and his job was on the line, he had that aura about him. He had that sort of tough mentality, and I think all the good coaches do.
Yeah, well, like, even Craig McRae, like, he's not, like, a real tough, like, he's a real lovable character. But I love his transparency as a coach. He's very well spoken. Like, you can almost hear the angst in JL's words at times, but we won't go down that rabbit hole. We're not trying to discount what he has done, because what he has done is brought a young group of players who all really get along. He's developed a great culture. We've won some really big games as a young list. And like you said, the natural evolution of the players is what's going to really make us improve, because we still are a young list, even though we don't use that as an excuse. We've got all the pieces now, I think. Well, not all the pieces, but most of the pieces. You were talking about a defensive winger before. Like, how different is that game if a Corey Wagner's in? We weren't going to win the flag anyway, let's be real. But yeah, Judd McVee, just a couple more puzzle pieces. Another key forward to just keep those guys on their toes. Not that Voss and Tracy could have done any more this season to get us over the line, but who's snapping at the heels of Jai Amos? Who's pushing guys like Isaiah Dudley and Switter and Frederick to be better. Because I don't think we have that much depth in the forward line and probably in key defence as well. It's going to be a big draft for us this year, I reckon, with some of the WA talent there is. That could really, but again, that's young talent. I don't know if we need to evolve as with older players. I don't know what it is. But we become younger because our 2 longest serving players are gone. I didn't really speak about Michael Walters when I came back either. So I think it's only fair that we give some love to Sonny Walters as well, because him and Fyfe, definitely 2 of our top 5 players of all time. Michael Walters was Shea Bolton before Shea Bolton was Shea Bolton. He was so reliable. There was weeks where he'd kick like 4 or 5 and have 25 disposals. But early on in his career, he was so fast. His chase down tackling, the partnership that he provided with Hayden Ballantyne, Chris Mayne and Matthew Pavlich in that forward line was pivotal for us to be in a period or a window of success that didn't eventually come. But as we became a shit side through 2016, 17, 18, him and Fyfey were the ones that put this club on our backs. And without those 2, we would have been... It was a shit time as a club as it was, but without those 2, it would have been a lot worse. Walters won, I think, was it the Collingwood game? And he won one the week before. Was it against Brisbane or something like that? Just like he was winning games for us. He'd go up into the midfield, accumulate, go into the forward line, take hangers. He was the most reliable set shot. All that to go along with the just raw football talent that he had, the goals that he would kick, what he's done as an Indigenous player for us as well. Just, he is the complete embodiment of a Fremantle Dockers player. It's just gut-wrenching that him and seeing Fyfe give the last wave the other night actually broke me. I was like, this can't be real. So, yeah, speak on Sonny and then we'll get on to Fyfey.
Oh, well, you were in Europe when Sonny retired. I did a fair bit of content on him. I've already said all I've needed to about him. He was, part of the team, or part of the first Fremantle team I can basically remember. He obviously got sent down very early to the Swan Districts for being unfit by Ross Lyon. And he said it himself, he wouldn't have it any other way because that made him that incredibly resilient and that incredibly resilient footballer he is, and he became across his entire career. And towards the back end of his career, you could see how idolised he was within the club. All the young players absolutely loved Sonny, and he brought, especially with the Indigenous players, whoever came into the club, there was a real tight-knit group in there, and that's something as a club we've always prided ourselves on, our Indigenous representation on the field. And off field, Michael Walters made that culture so good. So I think not just what he did on the footy field, but how he is as a person and how he built this culture, I think absolutely cannot be understated. I still occasionally see him in public, at local basketball arenas with his kids, and he's always just such a happy-go-lucky bloke. I think he's going to have a very good career after football. He seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders, and I'm just so thankful for what he provided to our club.
Yeah, and then, so number 10, all-time great. Thank you, Walters. And then Nathan Fyfe. Man.
This broke us.
Dude, I almost cried when they're going through the team. And today's sub, the number 7, Nathan. I was like,
I did. I'm not afraid to admit it.
What? You shed a tear?
I cried when they said number 7, Nathan Fyfe. I did.
There's probably some old blokes watching this like, come on, boys. Get some real problems in your life. Yeah. But this guy was my hero, man. How a player of his quality never achieved the ultimate. That 2013 to 15 period, he was untouchable. One-on-one, you couldn't stop him in a marking contest. No player hunted the ball harder than him. No one could tackle him, even if you did get a hand on him in the midfield. He was just so OP. Our game plan for pretty much that 2015 to 18 period was just or 19 period, he won a Brownlow then, was just kick the ball to Nathan Fyfe and let the man cook. Something that has sort of dawned on me since he's retired is like how much of an individual battle he had to face his whole career. Like, he's spoken about it pretty openly with the injuries that he's gone through. And, you know, that second Brownlow not bringing him the euphoria that the first one did. But, like, yeah, as this list has evolved and we've rebuilt, he's always been there, but he's almost been like an afterthought throughout that whole process. Like, we couldn't find a way to get him into the forward line, and then he decided to go a goatee. And then he gets these wacky injuries and he goes to India. And it's like, he was on this massive journey of self-discovery whilst being the biggest star that our football club has ever had, and then finds a way to get back into the side as this newly evolved substitute and doesn't get there. And it just shatters my heart. And I can't imagine a world where Andrew Brayshaw and Caleb Serong don't lift up the Premiership Cup. And if they do, that's the day that we go Control-Alt-Delete on the YouTube channel. But, yeah, Nathan Fyfe, my hero. Forever Freo, eternal great of the sport, Hall of Famer, guaranteed. I'm broken.
Is he the greatest player to never win a flag? It's certainly a discussion.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, he is.
Yeah, he is. I mean, the fact he played for our football club, and we were a small club, a small, irrelevant, tiny club for a long time. You could argue we're still irrelevant, but the town of Fremantle was put onto the map by Nathan Fyfe. Yeah. What he did as soon as he was drafted, I can't remember when he was drafted, but God, I've watched those games back. And his debut against Richmond was... you just knew straight away. I can imagine you knew straight away as soon as he came into the comp. In hindsight, it's easy to say. But, you know, that 2013 grand final where he missed all those set shots, right? He still had a bloody good game. You could never deny he was a big game player. He had 30 touches that day. And I looked back at all of his 11 finals the other day, and he was near to best on in every single one of them. He was a big game player. And as I mentioned, the town of Fremantle was put onto the map by this bloke. That 2015 Brownlow was euphoria for this town. It was just, wow. Like, one of our own, the boy from Lake Grace, the man who represents Fremantle, has just gone and won the biggest individual award in the biggest sport in this country. It was ginormous. And then he went and did it again when we were dog shit in 2019. I don't know how we won that Brownlow. We were like 13th that year. It made no sense. So he was just one of those players that could catch the umpire's eye even when we were bad. You just felt his aura whenever you were in... I mean, mate, whenever you were in the stadium, you felt his aura. Whenever he ran onto the ground as the substitute in his last few years, it was just something that we'll never experience from a Fremantle player ever again. Like, Caleb Serong and Andrew Brayshaw, theoretically, still have to sit... They won't, right? I want to put that out there. But they won't be better players than Nat Fyfe. Theoretically, could be better players than Nat Fyfe. They will never, ever have the aura or iconic nature that Nathan Fyfe does and what he means to Fremantle. So, yeah, it is just a legacy that will last for a lifetime. I can imagine in history classes in 200 years they'll be teaching about Nat Fyfe. And, yeah, just thank you for... I mean, he's not listening, but just thank you for everything you've done for this club. And, yeah, this loss will... I don't think I'll ever get over it, and I don't think you will either.
Yeah, well, the loss of Nathan Fyfe or the loss against the Gold Coast Suns?
Both.
Honestly, like, yeah, just before we move on from Nathan Fyfe and the point you were making, like, Nat Fyfe, I'm going
to... Ryan Fyfey.
I've just intertwined, like, the words of Nat Fyfe and crying, and I just can't separate them. Nat Fyfe crawled so Caleb Serong and Andy Brayshaw could run. Like, and someone commented it on, like, a Fremantle page, like, that seemed like a passing of the baton from Nat Fyfe to Caleb Serong the other night. Like, the performance that he put in was Nat Fyfe-esque in terms of getting the team on his back, doing everything he could. But yeah, no, you said it well. Like, we have been a small, irrelevant club to the wider AFL community. And we have been a club that's been starved of superstars. Like, other than Pav and Fyfe, actually name other genuine superstars. Like,
Yeah.
if you go to a club like West Coast, you can easily, and maybe we do get onto West Coast because I need to rip into something at the end of all this.
We've taken an hour to get into them.
But, Judd, Kerr, Cousins, Kennedy, just straight off the bat, there's 4. It doesn't take long when you go to Collingwood or even like an Adelaide, like McLeod and Modra and Rashudo, like that. We have been starved of these players, and Fyfe really did put us on the map.
Yep. All right. Well,
Yeah.
we've set our piece on him. West Coast Eagles.
Look, I don't really want to go into it too much now. We've had an hour-long therapy session. But yeah, clip emerged of West Coast. I don't know if they're officials or players celebrating Freo losing. Now, from the fans, from my housemate Jesse, I can take it, because I was cheering my head off when West Coast lost the flag in 2015, and I was absolutely devastated when they won it in 2018. That is the nature of rivalry. But for it to come from the BNF presentation, where your team has won one game for the season, where historically you have the worst 4-year stretch of any team in the history of the AFL era. You're an actual stain on the competition. And yeah, to see that video, like maybe I'm overreacting, but fuck West Coast. And I went out after the game and just had West Coast fans coming up to me, be like, "Oh, that was a good game. Better luck next year." And I was just like, "Mate, just piss off. Just leave me alone."
I literally got nothing to add on that.
That's all that needs to be said.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was fun doing business with you, Noah. We'll bring out a couple more podcasts. I don't know if we do it next week or when we're going to do it, but we will review the season as a whole. Go through the journey of the season, give the player ratings, and a lot of trade and draft stuff as well, I expect to come out. But yeah, let's wrap it up there, Noah. That's another thing. We didn't end up going to the Campfield after saying we were going to go to the Campfield.
We're sorry to the faithful. I've had multiple messages from people I know and people I don't know saying, "Where were you?" Apologies, we were in Northbridge.
Yeah, look, Campfield was too packed, so we went to Peekabah, which was... Well, they were playing the Gold Coast song, which was kind of...
That was
whack.
absolute bullshit. They had red lights on the tree. They were playing the Sun song on loop, and they turned it up, which makes me believe the Peekabah owners are West Coast fans. So, yeah.
Never going there again. Never getting my hard-earned money.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, that's the season, mate. We also haven't mentioned we've hit 1,000 subscribers. That's a pretty big thing. So thank you all for that. Honestly, we hit 1,000 officially, basically the day of the final, which is a massive achievement. As I mentioned before, we've been a small and irrelevant so-called club for a fair while. We've just gone and built the biggest Fremantle fan community out there in 6 months. So we're so grateful. We're the faces of it, but you guys are the ones who have made this channel possible. So thank you all for your support, and we cannot wait, or maybe we can wait because I'm still depressed to go on with this channel in the future, and hopefully see the ultimate success that most fan channels out there haven't seen. So appreciate you all, and stick fat, which you've been told for 31 years.
I don't know how much
in the end.
I don't know how much longer I can do it.
Oh, it's hard, mate. I know.
Oh. All right. Thanks, guys. Love you all. We'll see you soon. And we'll be back next year for more wins. Go Freo!
Go Freo.